Hey. Happy, what is today? Thursday. Happy Thursday, everybody. If you are on here, guys, get those likes up. Tag anybody. Share this with someone that you think may find it interesting. This should be a fun, or hopefully interesting, productive, whatever discussion. But anyways, guys, before I get into it, so I have to provide context, right? The title, Black Men in Suits Are Lame. Now, I obviously don't believe that for multiple reasons. I don't hold the view that every Black man who wears a suit is lame. Obviously, that's ridiculous. But what spurred this conversation on is that every single time I see a group of Black men getting together in suits, at least on social media, it always causes a stir. There's this movement that goes on. You guys may have heard of it by now, where it's basically a whole bunch of different Black men will get together. It's somewhat of like a networking marketing event. And then at the end, they'll do like a bit of a flash mob kind of scenario where they'll all put on suits, put on their best suit, their best fit, and they'll just walk the street. Peaceful demonstration, nothing crazy. They're just having fun. You know, like it's really not anything. There's nothing. It's harmless. It's just them being peaceful, doing a demonstration. And when the person who organized this whole thing, he was explaining the reason why he did it. He was talking about how he wanted to really start to combat the negative image that is, that Black men have. And the idea that anytime a group or collective of Black men get together, it has to be violent, it has to be dangerous, it has to be they're doing illicit activity. So part of that demonstration was, was a way of them to try to combat that negative image. And then also just as a way for people to come together and have fun and network. So, like I said, it's harmless, fun, no big deal. But every single time they do a march, every single time, Black Twitter in particular goes wild. So I saw it a few days ago. Yet again, another march, harmless. They're not doing anything wrong. They're networking. They're trying to build. They're trying to improve the Black male image. They're trying to improve essentially the overall community. And I just saw a lot of a vitriolic reaction. I saw a very, very negative reaction to these men just wearing suits. They're not doing anything wrong. They weren't bashing women. They weren't bashing men. They weren't doing anything but just wearing suits and trying to have fun. And it just created such an uproar. So that is what began this whole conversation. Of course, I got to have my receipts. So I'm going to bring it up and we're going to get into it. Okay. All right, guys, if you're on here, get those likes up. Tag anybody on here. Share this with someone that you think might find it interesting. Also, if you would like to show support to the show, you can find me on Cash App or Venmo. Share today. Also, super chats. As always, I will be sure to acknowledge all super chats. You guys, definitely be sure to support your favorite content creators. Okay, so I'm going to bring up the video where you actually see the march. It's, like I said, it's pretty harmless, but I'm going to bring it up just so you can have context. Then I'm going to bring up the video where the person who organized the whole thing is explaining his vision, and then we're going to go into the response. So bear with me. Okay. All righty. Wait, where'd you go? This is always the fun part. It's actually trying to get the receipt so y'all can see it. This is where it would be. Okay. Okay. So here, I'm gonna just bring it up, y'all.
Look in the camera. Keep going. Keep walking. Let's go. Fill that gap in. Don't let no big gap. Come on.
So y'all see it? I mean, this ain't nothing too crazy. You know what I mean? Like they're just walking. Literally just walking.
I like that, Rob. Keep going. Look in the camera. Keep going. Keep walking. Let's go. Fill that gap in. Don't let no big gap. Come on.
All right. So like I said, y'all see it? Nothing. It's, nothing huge. They're just doing a demonstration. They've done this a couple of times by now, and they have plans of doing this more in the future. Shout out to Dame C. I say Mr. Sade, hey, salute. What's up, Dane C? Good to see you here. Oops, where'd you go? I was trying to highlight you. Good to see you here. I appreciate the 2 on the super chat. I do. You guys, you give support, show some support, show some love. So we just saw the march. Like I said, we just saw the march where all they were doing basically was yeah, they were just walking around in their best, their Sunday best, if you will. Now I'm going to move into the next video where the guy who organized this whole thing explains why he organized not only this flash mob but this overall event, what the purpose is. Okay. Okay, that's coming up in just a second.
A company that really works in 3 tiers, right? So what you see here today is our flash mob. The flash mob is our staple event. It's a way for us to bring brothers together across the world. We're in Baltimore today. We've done DC, we've done Houston, we've done Dallas, we've done Paris, we've done LA. We got Africa stop that's coming up. We're going to Ghana this summer. We're going to Toronto this summer. We're going to Miami. All we want to do is be able to offer a safe space for brothers to be able to come together, network, engage, get to know each other, and of course, create that positive content that we're putting out there on the internet to combat the negative stereotypes of our community.
Okay, I'm gonna play that again one more time for you guys, for those of you who are coming in. Also, if you're coming in here, get the likes up. Real briefly, we're just going over the whole content that spurred on this conversation that Black men suits are lame. We started out by showing the march of this event, where at the end of this event they do like a flash mob where Black men get together with basically their best suits on and they just walk the streets. It's a very peaceful demonstration, nothing crazy, they just kind of walk the streets. And that's collaborated with a larger event where it's, you know, meant for Black men to network, you know, business wise, for entrepreneurs to come together, things like that. So now I'm going to play again. He's the person who organized this whole thing and he's explaining why he's done it.
So we're actually a media company that really works in 3 tiers, right? So what you see here today is our flash mob. The flash mob is our staple event. It's a way for us to bring brothers together across the world. We're in Baltimore today. We've done DC, we've done Houston, we've done Dallas, we've done Paris, we've done LA. We got Africa stop that's coming up. We're going to Ghana this summer. We're going to Toronto this summer. We're going to Miami. All we want to do is be able to offer a safe space for brothers to be able to come together, network, engage, get to know each other, and of course, create that positive content that we're putting out there on the internet to combat the negative stereotypes of our community.
So y'all, there it is. There it is. Again, just trying to create a space for Black men to come together. And one, just come together to network, to collaborate, share business ideas, make connections, things of that nature. Also have an event where, you know, they can have a safe space to do that. And then on top of that, start to combat the negative scenario that anytime a group of Black men come together, a collective of Black men come together, it always has to be associated with violence or harm. So I saw nothing wrong with this. I thought the overall attempt is great. And yeah, I mean, you know, there's maybe things that they could do better. There's always going to be critics no matter what they do. But I applaud the approach. I applaud the intent. You know, I hope to see more things like that. I hope to see more Black men trying to organize, to do things that are positive, to do things that are go and encourage each other to do better. And like I said, I saw nothing wrong with it. Unfortunately, every single time I've seen this particular event be reposted or reshared on the digital platforms, it always has such a mixed response. And more often than not, I see just a lot of negativity, a whole lot of negativity. And so that is why, that's what I'm gonna bring up. Y'all, I had to have receipts. I'm gonna bring up some of the response to this and then we're gonna get into it. Again, guys, if you're on here, get those likes up. Okay. Okay. No, that's not it. Actually, bear with me, y'all, as I am looking to grab the file. It's a rather big file, so okay. Okay. Guys, if you're in here, get those likes up. Also support the show. You can find me on Cash App or Venmo, Shay Sade. Be sure to support your favorite content creator, guys. I do my best to bring you guys content that's going to be entertaining and thought-provoking, but this is a group effort. I do depend upon your support to keep this going. So share some love, show some support, hit the Cash App, Venmo, Super Chats. I will be sure to acknowledge. Okay, so we're bringing it up. Bear with me. Okay. Receipts, y'all. I had to come with some receipts. And so this is where the whole topic of Black men in suits are lame. Now, I want to preface this with the fact that I've had previous men, different content creators come on and talk about this whole, I guess, the controversy related to suits in the Black community. I actually didn't know this was a thing, but I remember Mr. Obsidian, he came on a few months ago when he talked about how, at least on his page and different content creators that he's spoken with, the suit issue within the Black manosphere is a real issue. You have some who believe that you should wear a suit so that you should I mean, not necessarily every single day, but when it comes to going to different events, when it comes to how you present yourself, that wearing suits is productive. Image is really productive. He cites Kevin Samuels and his success as an example of that. There's that position. And there's others who say this isn't necessary, that's lame, that's a little too stuffy, that's not my style. You do not have to wear a suit to go to work. You do not have to wear the suit to go to really all these events and you can still be successful. So it was explained to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was explained to me that this is a point of contention within the Black manosphere. So I want to preface that this is something that's been going on. Now, when this video posted, again, let me remind you that this is a peaceful demonstration. All these men are doing they're walking the streets with their suits on. This is after a networking event where Black men have come together to try to collaborate, to try to share business ideas, network, have a safe space for them to do those things. That is the whole purpose of the idea, for them to build community. No woman bashing, no, it's not about fighting. It's not about division. No, this is a place for them to network and collaborate. Completely positive, completely productive goals. Nevertheless, there was such negative feedback. And I went and I pulled a few of the tweets. Let me say, this is not everything. This is not everything. If you really want to know and understand what everybody's saying, I've linked this in the description. You can go check it out. But I just pulled a few of the comments that can give you guys a sense of like just the controversy that was going on. You had a few people who were in favor of it. You also had very many who were not. So I'm going to start reading, and I want to unpack how people are perceiving this. And I think what this actually points to as to some of the different ideas we have floating around in the Black community that I think are actually detrimental. So let's start here. Nothing infuriates Black Twitter like seeing Black men in suits. He ain't lying. I want you to notice this video got over 1 million views. So this got some good feedback. It got over 1 million views. Here it says, nothing infuriates Black Twitter like seeing men in suits. As I mentioned before, anytime we see Black men in suits, a collective of Black men in suits, everybody and mama got a lot of stuff to say. And oftentimes it's not overwhelmingly negative. I mean, it's not overwhelmingly positive. Usually there's a lot of negative associated with it. Now here we go. It says mad corny. This person looks at this and says, yo, this is just mad corny. Okay, so mad corny. Here's something else. I'm gonna actually move on to the next slide. Here we got, this is so pathetic. This is so pathetic, right? So we have, looks like a female, and she looks at, the collective of Black men getting together to try to work and try to build and try to network. And her response is, this is pathetic. This is pathetic. Again, guys, this is over, about a 1.5 million views. So it's got some good feedback. This is pathetic. Here's another one. This literally does nothing for the community. Parading in suits? Be for real. I mean, y'all look nice, but what does this do? So again, what have we seen so far? Shaming. 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 This person says, okay, this is about to get people pissed off. And then we see, y'all, this is corny. We see, y'all, this is pathetic. We see this is useless. This is senseless. Why are you doing this? So negative feedback, a lot of negative feedback. And again, I want to reiterate, not everything was negative. There were some people in there who were in agreement, or who at the very least were happy that they were making an attempt to make a difference. But also there is a ton of negative. I saw a lot of female profiles, assuming they're females, assuming they're not trolls, but I also saw a lot of female profiles who were very open with the fact that they thought that this was corny, this was lame. So I'll continue. Here it says, I suppose I'm conflicted is because I'm not understanding what this is for, to push back negative media images, not for abortion rights, not gun regulations, not mental health, not police violence, just images. Sorry if I'm bored. So again, shaming, this isn't good enough. Why are you doing this? This doesn't make any sense. This is bad. This is wrong. Again, I want to reiterate that the whole purpose of this was to try to create an event where men can try to collaborate, period. I think it's safe to say and assume that there is no situation or scenario where you can get together, you can have a meeting, and all of the problems in the community are going to be solved. There has to be different steps taken. There has to be different people doing different things. It takes a collaborative effort. So the fact that somebody taking a step to try to build change is bringing such negative feedback or bringing such criticism, it kind of speaks to that crab in a bucket mentality that many of us have heard about in the Black community, where anytime somebody tries to do something positive, they try to move forward, here comes out the critics. Here comes out the critics. And it's just like, listen, you're not going to go from 0 to 100. There has to be steps taken to get to a better place. So if Black men are coming together, or if a Black man has an idea and says, hey, I want to do this, I want to try to combat the negative stereotypes, I want to create a safe space for Black men to do that, we have got to celebrate it. And I want to say also for women, what I noticed in this is that there was a lot of women saying negative things. A lot of women saying negative things. And you know what? Actually, you know, because I want to go into that, but let me finish. I'm gonna finish reading this, and then I'm gonna break down why I think women in particular, their criticism can be so detrimental, so harmful, not only to the men but the community. So yeah, I'm gonna get into that after I get through these tweets. Shout out to Dane C with the 5 on the super chat. I see this sort of reminds me of the Melly Men March. More scaled down. I remember Road Talk with Yanni were posting them on our community tab to be roasted. Okay, so roasted. I appreciate it. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand why men coming together in suits is something to roast. I hate to say it, but have this be a group of white men in their best suits. Hair, shaven, beard, you know, all taken together, whatever. Have this be a group of white men. And would we see the community going to be like, you gay, lame, deal, this is pathetic? Would that have happened if this had been a group of white men doing the exact same thing? I doubt it. I really, really doubt it. Shout out to Marco Polo with the $4.99 on the super chat. I see peace, love. I appreciate you. I appreciate the love for it, guys. Again, feel free to show support to the show. Find me on Cash App or Venmo. Shay. Also hit the like button if you're joining on here. And we're going over this question, or just over this whole topic. Black men in suits are lame, and here's why. So if you're just hopping on here, we went over the first 2 videos that spurred this conversation. It's Black men who basically came together, and this is an ongoing event where they plan events, right? They plan events, networking events where they can come together, share ideas, share networking, business ideas, entrepreneur ideas, whatever. And then at the end of that event, they'll usually have like a flash mob demonstration where they just walk the streets in suits. And again, this is an attempt to combat the scenario that says anytime Black men get together, it has to be for violent reasons. They're trying to show that Black men can also get together and be productive and be peaceful. And it doesn't always have to inspire fear. So again, that's kind of what we're going over. Now, I looked over the tweets and the response to this event, to this attempt that these men have made to actually do something positive for the community. And we're seeing how there is so much backlash. So there you go. Okay. So let me continue. So we got so here's another one, mad corny. I think I already showed that. So we have the corny, we have the pathetic, we have this does nothing for the community, yada, yada, yada. Now I'll continue with the next one. It says, so y'all get dressed to walk down the block. What does it represent and what is it supposed to be the outcome? So again, these must be people who didn't actually listen to the video of the organizer who said, hey, this is a larger event that we do, and this is just one of the many things that we do. So they obviously missed that video. But again, usually when people think of when they think of a group of black men getting together, there's usually fear instilled in the hearts of people. It's usually associated with something negative, how it's portrayed in the media, how it's portrayed in different, different capacities. So this is one of many attempts that they made to try to combat that. But again, the person, they didn't know that. They probably didn't see the video. Here it says, this literally does nothing for the community. Parading in suits, be for real. I mean, y'all look nice. What does that do? I think I already put that in the tweet, but yeah. It's another one. It says, this looks like a DL parade. This looks like a down low DL parade. So again, men in suits walking around means that you're gay. This look gay, basically what he's saying. This is like a gay pride parade. That's basically what he's saying. And this goes back to even those of you guys, who are very familiar with the late Kevin Samuels and his work, and how, he oftentimes was called gay, he was called lame. They say he really didn't like women like that. He was on the down low, all because he presented a very polished image. He didn't really fit into the stereotype, but he presented a very polished, well-to-do image. And instead of that being respected, like it would be in any other culture, it's like, oh no, he had to be gay. He has to be gay. So there we go. The shaming, yet again, the shaming. Yeah, we say shame, insults, guilt need to be right. The sign language, yes. Okay, so here's another one. It says, I have always found this to be mad corny. So again, corny. And I want to be clear, there are also men who were jumping in on this. It wasn't just women who were overwhelmingly shaming them. I did see a few men chiming in. Now, we can talk as to whether or not this is an overwhelming sentiment with men. I don't. I think most of the negativity that I saw tended to come from the female accounts, but I did see a handful of men being like, this is gay, this is corny, this is bad. So it wasn't just all the women. And then here it says, if I found out someone I was interested in participated in one of these, I would dry up immediately. A lot to unpack here. A lot. Okay, just a couple of things. A lot to unpack here. She's literally saying, if she found out somebody that she was dating, interested in, wanted to marry, went to a networking event to try to collaborate and network with other like-minded men to build business, to build industry, to maybe create new ideas, to build work collaborations. If she was with somebody who was trying to build in that manner and progress, she would dry up immediately, in her own words. How does that make any sense? And this speaks to what I said earlier. We're gonna get into it, but this speaks to what I said earlier, where I think, honestly, for being honest, I think a lot of Black women, especially when we're young, we are not taught to look for the right things and the right men. And there's different reasons for this, but a lot of us are not taught. We're taught to look for the swag and not necessarily the men with sense. And I think that comment speaks to that. So okay, I'm going to bring it up because I thought that was interesting. That was definitely interesting. Okay, where'd you go? Come back. Okay. Also, shout out to who I see. The Roger Report with the 20 on the super chat. I see. This is why I say that Black men should generally ignore what Black women think unless it's his woman. If a man buys into what they want, we will end up in a compromised position due to their love of dysfunction. Yeah, no, I agree. You shouldn't listen. Anybody who lives their life based upon the complaints found on social media is not in a good place. Because it's always the most disgruntled people who are the loudest, always. So I want to believe that the most negative, critical people on here are not. I want to believe this isn't the majority. I really do. But I just know that even on Twitter, it is a small population of people who drive the overall conversation. And unfortunately, the things that tend to be the most viral are the negative ones, or the negative posts, are the ones that build controversy. That's just the way, the name of the game. That's just the way it goes. So what did I say? It hit dog hollers. So yes, you were right. Nobody in their right mind should ever listen to the ranting and ravings of nameless, faceless avatars on social media who spend all their time bickering, and complaining all day. No one should ever look to their advice or their perspective when it comes to managing their life. You actually should live for and listen to the people who you care about. And could not agree more. Also, shout out to Better. What is that? I think I saw that. Better you. With the 5 on the super chat. So it says, to those that criticize a man wearing a suit, I wonder what their ideal of polished image would be. That is a very good question. That is a very, very, very good question. I'd be curious. I have no strong thoughts on either or. Like I said, I love men in suits. I also don't think men have to necessarily wear a suit every single day. For example, I'm in the Bay Area, right? Where it's literally been told that if you go to certain tech companies and you come up in a suit, they'll kind of look at you weird because the woke culture in certain environments is very casual. So even out here, like you go to like the Facebooks or the Twitter, you know, they want you to dress in a way, you know, you want to present well, but you don't want to present that you're so pretentious, because sometimes that can it cannot fit in with the culture. So I do understand that, like, yeah, there are jobs where you go in and you don't necessarily have to wear a suit every day. Now, if you're working for a bank, if you're working for a financial industry, if you're maybe a corporate job and you're in sales or you're working with high-end clients, yes, that makes sense. But there's some jobs where you might need to be more business casual. So there has to be nuance in this. But I think just what we're seeing already out the gate, the negativity that's being espoused towards men who are literally trying to do something positive and really trying to take control of the image, it's mind-blowing. It's really mind-blowing. Shout out to Diamond Dave with the 5 on the super chat. I see big up to them. However, it's not my thing. Also not into arguing online over if I should wear a suit with a person that will not cut me into a deal. Absolutely. It's not worth it. Yeah. Could not agree more. I think I saw something coming from Kevin C. What's up, Kevin C? It's always good to have you here. Okay, it says maybe it's too soon from the Buffalo incident, but I'm upset with Black people who ridicule productive men for wearing a nice suit. Come on, people. Right. I see nothing wrong. I literally see nothing wrong with the scenario. They weren't bashing women. They weren't bashing men. This wasn't about arguments. There was nothing negative about this. This is literally a networking event where men are Black men in particular, are trying to come together with other Black men to build. I don't understand what's wrong with that. We didn't see Nair Becky in sight. We didn't see no white woman, because I know sometimes if they had you know, what they call white women or biracials or exoticals, that would have called up a stir. But we can't make the assumption that, oh, all these guys only like Becky or all these guys are gay. Like, we can't make any assumptions about the relationship life, because it's not even about that. It's about them coming together to build, collaborate, to get the money that women say that they want. So how this is still negative and pathetic makes no sense. And if some of you guys who came on late, we literally saw a tweet where the girl was just like, oh, if a guy I was dating went to this event, I would dry up immediately, in her words. And it's just like, do we not understand? At the same time, one end, we're saying we want a man with wealth and income and means. And then on the other end, the men who actually are going and doing different things to get to that position are being shamed. Both can't be true at once. So I'm like, that didn't make no sense. That made no sense. Okay. Let me see. It says, other Roger Report. It says, my statement was about Black women as a whole in America. It's not just about extremists on social media. Brothers should generally ignore what sisters want that don't belong to them. That makes sense. I mean, no, that makes sense, because I think, you know, even me, it's like, okay, I'm married to my husband. So who, at the end of the day, what he says matters. You know what I mean? Like, if I go and I'm talking to this dude over there, listening to that comment over there, it's like that would be out of place, because I already have somebody that I'm married to and that I'm, you know, that I'm under. So it's like, that doesn't, like, it doesn't, yeah. So I understand your point. I used to say I understand your point. Okay, so let me get back to the comments, because we're almost getting to the end now. Let me see. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Come on, come on. This is always the fun part. Hey. Technical issue, guys, bear with me. Okay. It was taking a sweet time to get up there. All right, so we're getting through it. Yeah, so going back to the comment, I'm just like, I don't think you understand. You better not be a woman over there talking about you want a man with some resources. Because if you're now actually shaming men who are actually taking different steps to do that, then stop. Here we have one over here, more jobless behavior. Like, really? More jobless behavior. Men getting together, walking around to try to network and build and collaborate and meet, potential business partners, potential business owners, potential investors, or just potential employees, co-workers, whatever. This is jobless behavior. This is what broke, dusty guys do. They get together and network and wear their best suits. Like, really? This is so ridiculous. So ridiculous. Okay, I think I'm getting close here. Another one, genuine question. What in the hell is it supposed to do? So I'm going to assume this person did not see the video. The organizer of this whole thing already explained it. This is a networking event. This is one aspect of a larger overall event that takes place for Black men to come together and network and build, get connections, things like that. So I'm like, maybe you don't know, or maybe you do know, and they're just being critical. Here it says, okay, Black men have perfected being performative at cosplaying manhood. Will they actually do anything? Nope. Did they do any community work here? Nope. Less stress and more build. It doesn't take a fancy suit to raise your children, teaching your boys to be decent and protect your woman and girl. Another naysayer, so much to unpack here. Obviously, it's just the whole Black men don't build. We already know that's false. The whole Black men don't take care of their children. We know that's false. The Black men don't ever work. There's just so many fallacies in here. What she's really speaking to is the negative, the pookies, what we may call the pookies. She's speaking to maybe the quote unquote pookies, or the people in the community that may be considered unproductive. But this is not the collective of Black men. We know this. You look at numbers, it's obvious, and yet we see men here trying to collaborate, literally doing something positive, and all we have to say is something negative. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Another one, I feel bad for the woman. Some of these men belong to imagine seeing a man all happy and excited getting dressed up, thinking he's going to an interview, and then boom, you see a video of him walking around in the middle of the street, just type suits, vibes, and no goals. Again, obviously people who know nothing about what's going on, this is a freaking networking event. If you've ever been in a professional setting where it is encouraged for you to wear suits, you will wear a freaking suit. Networking event has a purpose. It is to network. It is to meet potential business partners. So it's like just all this negativity really for no reason. We see the amount of wild cologne smells in this video could probably kill a child, yada yada. It's just, it says walking to the unemployment line. So here's another jobless behavior. So this is why Black men joblessness is so high. Actually, no, it's not. It's not. It's been very clear that there are obvious reasons for this that tend to speak more to discrimination and racism. Even the Business Insider came out with a report that said that. So no, that's not true. But anyways, there's other groups of men are working and building at the kingdomless kangs have taken to the streets in cheap suits. So I mean, they're looking like honorary white men. Why is this the furthest Black men will ever go with their activism? At rallies held for male victims, you barely see them, but let them be suited and booted march. So I think y'all get the picture. I'm getting a new suit next week. Shout out. So I think you guys get the picture. You get the picture. So again, let me reiterate that not everybody. There were people in the comments who were celebrating it. But there were also a significant amount of comments who were not. It was very much mixed, unfortunately. And This is why I wanted to have this conversation, because again, here we have an event where men have come together, the Black men have come together to build, to try to do something positive, to try to network, to not even try to network, to make, you know, potential business partners, potential co-workers, whatever it may be. And it's just a shaming factor. It's a shaming factor. And what I hate about these kinds of different conversations of them saying, oh, well, they're not doing anything productive, they're not this or this or that. You have to not understand history, and you have to purposefully overlook the contributions that Black men and women have made together in order to make those kind of dumb, stupid, ridiculous comments. There have been plenty of Black men that have done things for the community. There have been plenty of Black men in the community that have worked together to even give us some of the different privileges that we have today. And so to overlook those things, and to overlook the progress and the steps that need to be made to even build anything, to even get a better result, is incredibly damaging. And this brings me to a bigger point. Sometimes women, I don't think, understand so much the power of the words. I mean, they rule sometimes, or they do the whole affirmation, divine queen goddess. They'll kind of mix in whatever supposed spirituality they have. But at the end of the day, I don't think that there is a strong understanding of how the negativity that a woman can put on her man, or even men in her family, whether it's her son, it could be brothers, it could be a boyfriend, whatever. What she says is incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful. I think there's one scripture that talks about it is better to live in like a shack than to be in the house or the mansion of like a nagging wife. Like there's plenty of scriptures that talk about how being a nagging wife, or just a complaining, nagging, critical, talker, person, thinker is like death to a man's spirit. It is death to who he is. It is death to his potential. Women, especially within the context of a relationship, have a very powerful role and have a very powerful, have like a very powerful influence in how they can help encourage and help really speak life into a situation, or speak goodness into the men in their life. Again, I'm saying whether it's their son, whether it could be brothers, boyfriend, husband, it's powerful. Their words are very, very, very powerful. And women who don't understand that, who just go on saying all these negative things, doing all these negative things, it's like they're sowing seeds of poison. They're sowing seeds of discord. They're sowing seeds of death. And it's like they don't even know it. Or if they do know it, they're not fully aware of how that's going to come back and impact them. So when I saw the open level of, like I said, it was mixed. You know, there were positive comments. And I guess maybe I could have added some of the positive comments in there so it didn't see also overwhelmingly negative. I focus on the negative ones, but there are a few positive ones, but there are also a lot of negative ones. There are a lot of negatives. And that again speaks to I think an overall mindset that I see among women, especially I think I'll speak to Black women because this is related to the Black community, how it is okay to just be so negative and so critical and so complaining and so just downright disrespectful. And we think that's not going to impact the community or impact us. And it absolutely will. It absolutely will. And like I said, the blatant level of either it is willful ignorance or downright stupidity to sit here and say that men, they've never done anything, they never this and that, where you have the opportunity, the very fact that you're on your phone or computer complaining about the Black men that haven't built is because of the Black men. We've already talked about this, how Black men have made so many different contributions to, to even modern technology, to infrastructure. I mean, we're free largely because of different revolts and things that Black men did, wage war. So it's just like, when you just, again, we throw all these things around like, oh, they've never done anything. It shows, like I said, willful ignorance or downright stupidity. I don't know which is better. But either way, it's just not true. And so I think there's a way, like everybody wants to be a critic when they're not in the driver's seat. I can't tell you how many people come on my YouTube channel telling me how to run content, telling me how to do things, don't have their YouTube channel, don't have their podcast, nothing. They have one subscriber. a nameless, faceless avatar. They've been on YouTube for 10 years and they want to tell me how to run my channel. And it's just like, okay, how about you go get yourself a channel and do what you want? But you don't have the right to be judge and jury when you're not even in the game. And a lot of times we'll see this sometimes where people who are actively in the game or actively trying to build towards something, you got people who are not even qualified, don't know nothing about nothing, coming in there trying to be critic, trying to put themselves above that person. And they don't even know nothing about what's going on. It's out of place, it's out of order. And I think at the end of the day, like I said, this speaks that reaction. And trust me, there's going to be more. There's going to be more marches. There's going to be, because they said we're going to be going to Africatown, we're going to be going to Paris, they're going to be going around. There's going to be more marches like this. Then you're probably going to see more stuff pop off on Twitter, more stuff pop up on social media, more of these men being roasted for them, for what? For doing something positive. And then you have the nerve to say that Black men don't build. And then when they go and try to build, you shame them. Bad optics, bad idea, bad framing. And it's really, really, really detrimental. Guys, if you're on here, get those likes up. Shout out to Mighty. It says, thank you for all you do, Shay. Thank you, Mighty, for showing some support. Guys, if you're on here, hit the like button. Hit the like button. Also, show support for the show. If you continue following on Casper Venmo. Shay Sade. So yeah, like I said, so I mean, it's ridiculous. These men are literally getting together trying to build, and there's all this negativity. And like I said, here's why I think it's a problem. Because everybody listened to this video, or probably at least 99% of y'all listen to this video, know that if that had been white men, nobody probably would have had nothing negative to say. Or if so, it would have been really, 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 really small. But there wouldn't have been no issues. You probably would have had them same women talking about these jobless kangs praising those men if it had been a group of white men. Or even a group of Asian men. It wouldn't have had the same reaction. And that's what makes me sad. So yeah, I see, yep, other races are watching. Absolutely. Other races are watching our stupidity online. And I know some of these avatars that pretend to be Black women are really neo-Nazis. I know that. But I don't have a way of knowing the percentages. And the very fact that it's hard to tell between a neo-Nazi and some of these divested Black women is a big problem. It is a huge problem. But that's a whole separate conversation, y'all. Yes, that is very zero just with Black men. So okay, so let's transition to my bigger point. The Black men in suits are lame, right? So I mentioned this in my community tab earlier. Right now, and I mentioned this a few times. So at the end of the day, whether or not we want to believe it or we want to deflect, it is safe to say, this is just my humble opinion, that many Black women, I think when we're young, we are not taught how to vet for the right men. Whether you want to blame it on media, you want to blame it on single parent households, you want to blame it on not having a good relationship with your dad, or just youth. Or just youth, whatever you want to blame it on. Nevertheless, a lot of Black women, I think, in their younger years, we are encouraged to go after dudes with swag and not necessarily dudes with sense. Over and over again. I can say anecdotally in my own life, but even if you want to look at movie stars, what was that recent situation with Chloe Bailey and her boyfriend now up in jail? People was always hating on Ciara because she did that whole thing and then finally ended up with a good guy. But she kind of had the same thing, and she even talked about. She even did songs about the kind of men that she wanted, which wasn't necessarily the professional cleanup kind of dude. She did songs about this. You know what I mean? And we see this time and time again where a lot of women, even artists, they will praise this like Pookie Ray image of Black men as being the most sexy, the most dangerous. I mean, Nelly and Kelly, there's just the list goes on. Lori Harvey, now she's with Michael B. Jordan, but she was with Future. And so we even see this with some of the celebrities, right? Where it's like these women may have access to all kinds of celebrities. They can maybe go with who knows? They could go with a clean cut guy, but they may end up with like a rapper that already has a couple baby mamas or somebody that has a record. And they may clean themselves up or they may not. But so we kind of see this behavior on that end being reflected. And it happens to this day. In just everyday life. even just lower classes, that it happens. And I think, again, it goes back to the fact that many of us at the end of the day were not taught to like or appreciate the same things. Case in point, how many of those tweets in there was talking about, oh, this is gay, this is pathetic, this is down low, these men over here trying to build, trying to network, trying to do something positive, trying to collaborate, trying to build industry. Be like, oh, he gay, oh, this is down low, this is pathetic, oh, this is weak, yada yada yada. This is their response. This is the response to men who were actually trying to do positive things that may actually make them great husbands, that may actually make them, capable men to lead families, and we're shaming them. But in the flip side, and this is why we are, I think there is such a emphasis on the Pookies and the Rayways in the relationship specter, or there's emphasis on the Dusties in the relationship specter, because so many women deal with them, because so many women have had relationships with them. If women weren't dealing with Dusties like that, if they didn't have skin in the game, if they didn't have an emotional history related to Dusties or the Pookies, then they wouldn't constantly be on their lips. But the very fact that this is a constant talking point and is constantly complaining about that speaks to the fact that these women are dealing with those kind of men, that Black women in particular are dealing with those kind of men. Look at the marriage rate. Look at the, the out of wedlock babies rate. Even if you look at like STDs, like there's so many different things that speak to the fact that there's not having successful marriages. We're not really having luck at choosing the right partners. And some of this, I would argue, I think goes down to how we are socialized when we are very, 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 very young, very young. And listen, because I talked to other women about this. Women in other cultures, they have the same thing. Some of the, they may be attracted to the rough guy, or the guy with adventure, or the guy with swag. So other cultures have that too. But I think because some of them, we can argue why, but I think at the end of the day, where there is a strong culture, still a strong cultural standing, and there is a strong cultural setup, and there are strong boundaries in place, then a woman may know at the end of the day, okay, I can do this in college, or I can do this behind closed doors. But when it comes down to me marrying, or it comes down to me coming home and bringing somebody to my parents, I got to get it together. So there's still real life consequences. There's still consequences of just like, if you bring this kind of person home, you're not going to get the inheritance. If you bring this kind of person home, you're going to get disowned. Like those kind of cultural standards exist in other cultures, and it's very real. But in the Black culture, it just seems to be a lot more broken down, and it just seems like maybe that happens in certain families or people of a certain class, but there's enough of us, I believe, that doesn't exist. It's kind of like we're just making up our ideal of a perfect man based upon what we watch, what we listen to, what we see on social media, and oftentimes it's horrible. And again, you don't believe me? Why is that kind of behavior, those kind of comments, why is there not a vitriolic reaction? Why are there not women en masse saying, hey, this is wrong. We should not be shaming men who are trying to do something right for the Black community, who are trying to do something right for themselves. Like if there was more women, if there was more of a collective outcry of women that are saying, nah, this is not the behavior that we kind of want, then I could say, okay, this is just a small vocal whatever. But it's the silent majority, it's the silent complicits or silent compliance to me that shows that, like, okay, no, maybe there is there's a large enough position of Black women who hold these beliefs. And this is partially why, I'm not saying this is the only reason, this is partially why we see things in the Black community the way it is today. Because so many of us, we don't even know how to pick well. And we see something halfway positive and we shame it because we're so ding dang broken and toxic and spiritually unwell. We need healing. We need saving. We're all over the place. And as soon as we see something that's halfway productive, the best thing we know how to do is just criticize it, because we have no sense of understanding of what's healthy. And I think that's what's going on. So again, guys, if you're on here, get those likes up, y'all. Get those likes up. Also, social support to the show. You can find me on Cat or Vin Shay Charday. Super chats are open. I will be sure to acknowledge super chats. Yes, the other coaches know that you cut that loose until 2020. Right. Absolutely. I mean, like I said, I know I've literally had friends, know people who are just like, yeah, my mom said this, my dad said this. Like, if I do this, if I do that, if I do that, inheritance is gone. I'm not getting that house. They may disown me. They may not see my, they may not come around the kids if we have kids. Like, there's really, really strong cultural repercussions that happens. So if that doesn't exist, then it's like you just got people doing whatever they want, and then we wonder why. Women every 15 seconds are crying about how horrible men are. It's like, well, because let's just be honest about the fact that many of us are choosing horrible. See, and here's another thing that I noticed. And let me say this too for ladies who want to say that all I do is bash women or whatever. We all know it's BS. No one is sitting here acting like, at least I'm not sitting here acting like everything black men do is perfect. That everything all men do is perfect. Nobody's sitting here saying that. I'm not saying that. We all know that to be a human being is to have the capacity to do bad, good, and evil. Of course, there are things that black men as a collective can do to improve. I don't argue with that. I am not a black man. That is not my place to sit here and tell black men how to do black men. That's what black men need to do. I am a black woman, however, so it is more appropriate for me to talk about the things that impact me, that could impact my future daughters, you know what I mean? That impact my friends. That is more appropriate because I am a woman. So if I'm sitting here talking about issues that impact women, that is because I'm a woman, and that is because those are the things that I and we can actually change. I can't sit here and change the behavior of black men. I can't tell them what to do. That is a deflection. So oftentimes what I see sometimes when we have these conversations and we say, hey, black women choose wrong, it's like, oh, well, you're just judging us. Or, well, black men are this. Well, black men choose wrong too. Well, black men have kids out of wedlock. Well, black men go to prison. Well, black men don't build. And then the conversation shifts. As soon as you point out something wrong that a black woman has done, or just something that collectively there's an issue in the community or an issue among black women, as soon as you point that out, it has to go down to all the things that black women are doing wrong. Nobody is saying black women don't do things wrong. Nobody's saying that. But it's like the bigger issue is, what are you doing wrong today? What in your life is wrong today? And if every single time there was something brought to light about what you personally are doing wrong, if your response is to now go look at what somebody else is doing wrong or doing worse, then you're incapable of changing. You're incapable of the truth. You're unspiritual. You're hard-headed, and you're never going to change. You're never going to change, because it's just like, that's the definition of deflection. And like, if you can't reflect, you know what I mean? Then you cannot be transformed. Like, there is no truth. There is no healing. There is no divine, that whole divine feminine crap, that divinely feminine that gives you a reason to bash men all day and not look at yourself and say, actually, no, I have some evilness inside of me that I need to submit to God and get healing with. That whole, I'm divinely feminine, I created the world, the Eve gene, all that crap, that still has women going around being toxic and thinking it makes them, they're spiritual for doing it. You're not going to get anywhere. So again, this is why I will spend a good portion of my time talking about the different issues I see related to black women, because I am a black woman, and that is my place. It is not my place to sit around and tell men how to be men, because women cannot tell men how to be men. Men have to do that. But as long as there are issues, which there are plenty, as long as there are plenty of issues that are happening among women and among black women, that we don't even need to waste our time figuring out all the horrible things black men or men in general are doing, because we should be so busy trying to get ourselves in check. That is called taking responsibility and taking accountability. And if there's no ability to do that, then again, ain't nothing gonna change. Somebody tells you, hey, you need to lose weight. You're not slim thick. You're not even, you go chubby. You are at risk for your health. And then you go and say, oh, we're judging me. Well, black men, they overweight too. Black men, they get big Beckies. They like, yeah. It's like, that is not in the conversation. You are the one at the end of the day that is at risk for bad health. You're the one at the end of the day that's at risk for diabetes, for heart disease, for fill in the blank. You. So as long as you deflect, if you're a woman that every single time an ounce of truth comes to you, you deflect, you will never change. You will because you're incapable. You're incapable of the truth, and it is a truth that changes you. It is a truth that sets you free. See, and I see this BS even among Christian women. And that's what really bothers me, because I'm like, if you're really about the gospel, if you're really about truth, you recognize that you have the responsibility more than ever to be honest. To be honest, to call a spade and say, no, this is wrong. I was sinful. I was being prideful. I was being arrogant. I was jealous. You have a responsibility more than ever. But if you start using God as deflections, or this whole, like I said, I hear everything between divine feminine to, oh, well, these men are demonic. So because they're demonic, I have a chance to, I have a reason to talk bad about them, or because they're demonic, or because they're demon possessed, then that means I can trash them. Whatever spiritual reasons that you use, which is toxic, to give yourself a reason to deflect from your own toxicity, doesn't help anything. It helps nobody. And ultimately, whoever it hurts is you. It is you that it hurts. It is you that it hurts. So that's why I'm saying, when I see some of this fake, cheap Christianese stuff, and I say this is somebody who's a Christ follower, and I recognize it, where it's like we start using scriptures to deflect from what's going on internally and not face the truth within. It's just like, well, that religion is pointless. That religion means nothing. That religion is empty, or spirituality is empty. It's empty. There's no power in it, because it is the power of truth, the spirit of truth, again, that brings change, that brings transformation. But you have to first start somewhere. You have to first acknowledge where you're wrong. And if you are unable to do that, and you choose whatever affirmation, whatever scripture, whatever tarot card reading to deflect, it don't matter. You're going to get the same result. Because it's bad, it's evil, it's bad intentions, period. And if any spirituality you have is giving you reason to demonize 50% of the population, you're in sin, you're demonic, however you want to put it, you're toxic, however you want to put it, your energy is low, use whatever phrase that you want to use it, but you're off, period. Period. In the discussion. And like I said, if you don't believe me, look at your life. Just look at your life. This is something, again, this is what I love about truth. Because I don't have to sit around trying to convince you or convince anybody of their own effed up reality. If they're living a horrible life, or if they're depressed, or if they feel dark, if they have dark spirits, dark thoughts, anxious, depressed, or whatever it may be, all consistently, their life is chaotic, they can tell themselves they're divinely feminine all they want, but at the end of the day, they go home at night and they look at themselves in the mirror and they know what they see. So that's the thing I love about the truth. The truth has a way of following you, even if you want to deny it. It does. So y'all, that's what I got. Like I said, at the end of the day, my thoughts is this whole scenario speaks to the fact that there is a significant amount of Black women at the end of the day who do not know how to even identify healthy behavior, know how to identify healthy men, know how to identify healthy potential partners, because they're so toxic, or they're so messed up, and they're so broken that anything healthy to them seems lame, seems boring, seems down low, seems gay, seems pathetic. And that speaks more to their own toxicity than to the toxicity of that Black man that they are judging. And that is what we saw in those comment section. That's what we saw. And of course, this needs not to be said. This is not every Black woman. It's not. But the very fact that there was not a collective outcry of women online saying, hey, we need to stop this. Women with influence, women who have large platforms, large followings saying, hey, we need to stop this. This is not helping our image, their image, the community. This is not helping for us to go and try to criticize and try to tear down men who are trying to do something positive. This is undermining us. The very fact that there was not a collective outcry of that happening, again, speaks to the fact that there is, at the very least, a significant amount of women who are in agreement with that toxic behavior. And that is a problem. So, okay, guys, so that's what I got. I do have a few minutes if any of you guys want to call in. I'm gonna go, I think you guys know how this goes from now on. Let's see. Yeah, so if you guys want to call in, or if you guys want to have a few minutes to talk, let me know. I'm gonna go on a, I guess, go like a little 2-3 minute intermission. Guys, show some love. Show some love. If you guys show some more or enough love and support, I will be on here long. If I don't get enough support, that's cool. I'll keep this short and simple. Y'all know the way it is. So let me know. Oops, looks like it cut out, but okay, no worries. It froze, but no worries. All right, guys, so I got a few minutes. Shout out to Draga001 for the support. I see not calling, just supporting. I appreciate you. I do appreciate you, as always. Also shout out to Matthew Gaines with the $9.99. It says keep up the great work. I appreciate all of you guys for showing some love and support. Like I said, that's what keeps this show going. So I do have a few minutes. If any of you guys want to weigh in, let me know your thoughts on this whole topic. I'm going to drop the link and then y'all let me know what you think. Y'all let me know what you think. Let me pull it up real quick. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Okay. See Kevin C. Great commentary, Shay. I hope positive and husband hunting Black women are listening and paying attention to your words. You know, I hope so too. I hope so too, because I know that there are women out there who are not in agreement with the overall mess that we see. I know that. Now they might be a small minority. We can go back and forth about how many of them exist, but like I said, at the very least, I want there to be a space for them to feel welcome. So, Oh, you know what? Actually, that reminds me. Wait, I think I had. Let me see. Do I have this? I told. I actually completely forgot. I forgot to mention this, but we'll see because this may need to be another live. This may need to be another live actually. So let me see. We got Kevin C. You got our regular. What's going on, Kevin C? What's going on?
Oh, man, I'm up kind of quick already. How you doing?
Good. So what you got in the topic?
Yeah, it's good to see you. And first of all, shout out. It's very interesting. I noticed you switch up your format a little bit. The Godfather used to do that a little. Do that.
Do what?
Do that little break.
Oh, yeah.
Not that you're copying his style. It's just it's a little tribute to Kevin Samuels. We all appreciate his effort.
You know what?
And some of the things he left behind, right?
Mr. Obsidian would do a little interlude, and I find too, it's like, if you're sitting in the same place for a while, after a while you kind of need to move around, so it's helps me too.
So I'll try to do this with and be objective and try to stay do this without being too emotional. And maybe it's because I'm kind of close to that whole Buffalo incident, and I'm not close to it. I don't know anybody. It's just it's just kind of hitting me a certain way. And this thing right here is kind of, I guess you could say it's almost like a trigger, only because just across the board, people are just like conditioned to just dislike Black people for whatever reason. The fact that that we haven't done anything to them or anybody else. Now I understand we have our own issues and internal problems, and we do have some criminals and bad actors. Yeah, we got that.
Yeah,
I understand that. But as a collective, we're not out there doing bad things to anybody. So when you have a group of Black men who show up in suits, it's almost crazy for anybody to even hate on that. If anything, you've been asking, so what are you guys doing? What is that about? And I'll be honest with you, if I saw it, I'd be like, well, shoot, I'd be kind of upset that I wasn't invited, or somehow I missed the event. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, because think about rolling up on a bunch of women wearing floral dresses and church hats, walking around with platters, going into some kind of building. You're like, well, shoot, man, you want to know what's going on? Why am I not invited? And what do I need to do to get the invite? You wouldn't make fun of that at all.
You're right. And you're like, if it was the other way around, if it was women walking around in their dresses and they weren't like twerking or doing anything just obnoxious, but they were just being respectful, walking around, being chill. Like, I don't think that there would be an overall outcry of men being like, I mean, you would probably would have a few, just because that's just the nature of things. But I don't think there would be a large portion of men who would find that offensive or pathetic.
Yeah, we definitely wouldn't make fun of it.
I could be wrong on this. But
so, and I'll tell you something else too. And this reminds me of something. So I don't know if you're familiar with the old man, Muhammad Ali, but
wait, Obsidian?
Yeah.
Obsidian. Oh yeah, he's been on here a couple of times.
All right, yeah. So one of the things, he actually did a show a while back. It was actually probably 4 or 5 years back, and he actually talked about this. There was a woman. There was a bunch of men standing in a suit, and they presented a nice business format. It was about 20 Black men, and then a woman literally said, "There's only like 2 guys in that group that I would even be interested in." Now keep in mind, without regard to what they look like. It's just the image that they presented. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
And one of her comments was, "Man, why is it so all the men who have their life together, who are actually business oriented and focused and actually doing good things, why is they so unattractive? Why is it all the hood dudes got to be the good looking ones that don't have it together, but the dudes in the suits are the lames?" You see what I'm saying? So men, we can't really process that because it doesn't make sense to us, right?
Wait, so you're saying? Wait, bear with me. Can you see? I'm having my audio is like.
I hear you, but you kind of froze up on the screen a little bit.
Did I freeze? Okay, give me 1 second, because I just noticed that like you look stuck and I look stuck.
Oh, okay,
so give me 1 second.
You still have the audio. You still good with the audio. So.
Okay. Sorry.
Everything get all spread over
I
there.
have no idea. Somebody's mad. Y'all, that's all I'm gonna say. Somebody's mad.
Nah, yeah, hey,
Oh.
yeah. And sometimes it's a technical. It's funny because I was thinking about starting something. And I told my daughter, I said, I'm going to need you to be my technical administrator and advisor, because I was thinking, I said, if I'm ever doing something and I need a technical, she's really good at computers and all the other stuff, but it's just kind of funny. You might want to call a tech. It's just funny, but yeah, I know these things happen. But and I'll make a couple more points when I get out, because I know we got people waiting behind me, and I know you got guys in the queue. But this is something that people need to think about, and this is serious. This is serious business right here. Is that you got black men out here trying to do something positive, or trying to present a positive image. Again, shout out to Kevin Samuels. Putting forth that and actually trying to wrestle back the negative stereotypes and all this other stuff about black men. And then you have people actually making fun of it. Let me tell you something about that. And this is from a male perspective. If you see, like, if a guy is actually trying to do something positive and people ridicule it and continue to ridicule it, you know what he's going to do? He's just going to continue. He's just going to back off, withdraw, and just give up on it and just go off in his own direction and do something else. He'll still be positive. He'll still be a contributing member of society. He just won't do it with you, and he'll do it away from you. And he'll probably he might even take his services and go someplace else, which is the very thing that our women don't even want.
Right.
So
and that's what I was saying.
Yeah, you have to think about the residual effects of that and how that affects men. It's almost as if people have this idea that men don't have feelings. Now, I understand that we're not very emotional and we don't emote quite a bit, and we try to keep things bottled up. And we don't like to talk about stuff. And if we're vulnerable, we're not going to do it in front of a bunch of women. But one of the actual love languages is words of affirmation. So if you're not saying anything positive about the dudes in your group, the ones that you want to provide, protect, problem solve, and lead, and actually do all those things, and make sure that you're not unprotected, disrespected, or neglected, then how are you going to do that? How are you going to get there if you're always dogging them? See what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
No, I 100% agree. That's what I was saying before about the words that women use, and not understanding that, to your point, whether we believe that men have emotions or don't, they do. They may express it differently. They may not want to express it to you, especially if you as a woman have shown that you're an unsafe person, show that you're critical. But words have extreme effect, especially with somebody that you're in a relationship with or have some form of influence over. They can have encouraging or sometimes even crippling effects. They really can. So I agree.
Think about a young man who grew up hearing that all of his life, and then by the time he's 21, he's like, you know what? Everybody told me I wasn't going to be anything anyway, so you know what? Forget it. I'll just stay here in this room and play my video games. Like Absolutely. That literally has effect. So I'm getting kind of deep, but at the same time, I just kind of wanted to put that out because I know we have women listening, and I know that dudes are not going to talk to you about this. They're just going to move away and they'll be like, no, I don't want to talk about it. That's what you're going to get. I'm telling you, that's exactly what you're going to get because that's what we do. The most we're going to do is talk to other men. And we're going to talk to other men who are, successful, positive, and actually try to encourage us. If we don't get that, then I'm going to tell you right now, men are going to withdraw. And I see it in these social media circles and kind of out on the internet and like these little TikToks and whatever these chat things and all this other stuff. Yeah. These are literally saying, we're not trying to correct women. We're not trying to actually tell y'all what to do. We're not engaging with people who are just going to be toxic and ridicule us and make fun and all this other stuff and try to down us. We're just going to move away from you and go to people who are positive. If that's 50% of the women, that's 50% of the women. If it's 40 or 30%, that's 40 or 30% that we're going to engage. Everybody else is going to fall away. And when you consider the times that we're living in and just the incident that we had the other day, we need to be united and working together more than ever, probably more than any other group. So just my 2 cents on that. All right.
I couldn't believe more. I
don't just think about the actual event or just an incident. I think about the second, third, and fourth order effects. What are the residual effects from that? That's how people got to be thinking. You got to be thinking, okay, how does this affect everybody else if I'm doing something like this? And how does it come out? How does this play out in the long run? People have to start thinking that way because we need to be getting it together and getting things done. But I tell you what, if a bunch of black dudes showed up with long guns and not long guns, but long barrel rifles and short barrel pistols and stuff like that, I think everybody would have a problem with that, to include, people outside of us. But, you got dudes in suits doing something positive and actually trying to present a nice image. People need to really consider that and how and what that looks like and what those guys are trying to do. So good on them. Good on them. Hey, I'll go ahead and dip out. And thanks for what you do. Thanks for providing this platform, because I think people need to hear this message, and we need to kind of wrestle back this negative thing that's kind of permeating just Black people overall, and do better as a collective. But hey, thanks.
Yeah,
Talk to you later,
absolutely.
Shay. Appreciate you.
Thanks for calling in and for your support. All right, Betty, what you got?
Yeah, just kind of my 2 cents would be that a suit is not just a suit. And speaking from my own personal experience, in order to be taken seriously as a Black man in certain environments, if you don't look the part, then you aren't going to be heard at all, regardless of your talent.
Yeah, period.
And for me, honestly, just for my work experience, pre-COVID, I was 100 pounds heavier, didn't really dress up. Once we came back into the office, I made it a point to wear suits. I made it a point to make sure every single day, like today I dressed down, but it's the coat I wore. I still kept it casual with a blazer. And it's amazing how it's nothing that's significantly changed as far as my skills and abilities, anything like that. But when I speak now, the senior leadership hears me. Whereas before, when I didn't necessarily, even though it's a casual culture, even though I didn't necessarily stand out, my voice also didn't stand out. So as a Black man, I would say like far more than a lot of others, like we're forced to conform by society. Like even our hair, like that's one thing that I feel like our sisters can get a little bit of leeway with certain styles and whatnot. A Black man with dreads in a corporate environment, like a lot of times he's behind the 8 ball. Like that's a knock on him. And that's just kind of my opinion. Like the suit, not only is it Black men coming together to do something to build, but on top of that, it's a tool for us to be heard in certain environments so that we can get into the room and actually make something and bring something back to our communities.
Right. How's it going, Mrs. Taylor?
Good.
Yeah, thanks for calling in. Real quick, I'm gonna want to touch upon your point, then I'll let you interject. I agree with, when you're in corporate is incredibly political. So in politics, by nature of it, it's a big aspect of it is how you present yourself. Now, I'm sure there'd be some different women who push back about the leeway on the hair. For example, like I wouldn't wear my hair like this in my office, with the exception of maybe like Halloween or certain things you could dress up. But I knew in interviews I would wear my hair a certain way. Usually I would slick it back or try to do something to kind of downplay. There's certain things that you do, and then maybe once you get into certain positions of power or influence and you've shown yourself, you can be a little bit more relaxed depending on the office. But either way, it's like you definitely have to play a role in corporate. That's one of the reasons I just never liked it and knew that it wasn't for me long term. Some people thrive really well in it. Some people do, but so I agree. I do agree with that. Mrs. Taylor, what do you have on the topic?
I just wanted to make sure I got on here because sometimes I'm always working when you're on live. So I always wanted to be able to provide a comment for at least the women who agree with your opinion and support that. I think a lot of that just comes from jealousy. A lot of those women, they want what they can't have. And it's just a matter of, well, why are they showing off these shoots? They're not these suits. They're not coming over and trying to get with me or anything like that. So what's the point? You know what I mean? I think a lot of times it may be just a representation of, what they didn't get to experience in life and what the men that they probably have never encountered, or whatever that look on the man represents to them. But I just think that it's just really sad as Black women that we've stooped down to this point, that nothing, it's almost as if nothing that a Black man can do to be to be able to get into your good graces. And I find it really interesting, even when you're comparing the type of man that they're looking for. When there was this whole big debate about Russell Wilson being a square, and I remember just seeing comments about that. Oh yeah, I'll take a square. I'll take this. I'm like, please, you probably rejected a square yesterday. Stop it. Like, stop the lies. You ain't. I can't. And I've been around other women who, you know, like particular types of men. So I just think that at the end of the day, you know, if you're not attracted to those types of guys, you're not. But just stop. I mean, I don't know, like just hush. Just go with the guys that you like and chase after them and just leave them alone. I mean, I think it's just really sad. I think it just stems from just jealousy and envy of what they can't have.
Interesting. I never really thought about that perspective, but no, that's we're saying woman looking at that and knowing that, hey, these are men who are about something and being upset that those kind of men don't give them the time of day. And so instead of acknowledging that, they'd rather shame it, or they'd rather try to minimize it so they don't feel so bad.
Because you're not qualified to be the type of woman to be with them.
Yeah, no, that's a valid point. That is a valid point. And there is definitely something like going on. Because it's like no reason the actions of people, a collective of people that are trying to do something positive to, like I said, to build community, doing things that would lead to more assets with which women say they want. No way something so positive that has no negative intentions really should have such a negative, mixed, critical response, unless there's something behind it. So no, I think you make some great points there for sure.
And I was just gonna say, and sometimes those same women, they also place shame, or they put down some of the women who like to dress modestly, like that. There's some sort of movement around that too, where if a woman doesn't have to, you know, show off her cleavage or show her shape too much, or is twerking at a video or something like that, that she is just, you know, why is she covering up? She's saying that, you know, women just can't, you know, honor, you know, show off their bodies and different things like that. I can honor my body and still show it off.
Yeah.
Everyone doesn't want to show off their booty. Everyone doesn't want to show off their cleavage, you know, and think that, and just use that as an attention grab. And I think that is what social media, you know, emphasizes their insecurity, because they have to go on and seek that validation. They need to shame somebody else that is not doing exactly what they're doing. So,
yeah, no, I think, yeah, you make a good point. Looks like I see Mr. Research back there. What's going on, Mr. Research?
Hey,
You sound a little faint. No worries, as you're getting your audio taken care of. I did see a shop come through. Hakeem, what's going on, Hakeem? Shout out to you for the 10 on the Cash App. I appreciate it. Again, guys, if you're here, hit the like button. Show support to the show. You can find me on Cash App or Venmo, Shay Sade. Honestly, my goal is to have get a better setup, and eventually maybe get someone to help me with the technical side so we can eliminate issues like I had before. So I will need some more support to do that, guys. So like I said, support your favorite content creators, the Cash App, Venmo, all that stuff. So I could eventually, you know, I want to update things, guys. I want to give you guys a better experience. So it's not like struggle stream every other live here. Okay, so are you all set up, Mr. Research? You there? Okay, well, sounds like there might be another struggle stream part 2. So you're in good company there. Betty, do you have anything? Do you have anything else you wanted to add with what she shared or what she said?
Yeah, to kind of just piggyback off of that a little bit, in addition to what she was saying, I think it's a lack of recognition that men and women of a particular race are intrinsically linked to one another. You see it with Kevin Samuels and his death, and a lot of the frankly just flat out misandry. When you tear down, or you have this wholesale narrative against one part of your race, or you know, one gender of your race, that is tearing down yourself by proxy. There isn't anything where you can look at, oh, the male lion's a predator, female lioness is not. He's an herbivore. Like they are what they are. They are together, and they come as a set. And I feel like with a lot of the women who make those comments, they may feel like there's something that are, for lack of a better term, that they're separate from Black people as a whole, or Black men as a whole, and not even realize that in making some of those comments that they're really tearing down themselves in a roundabout way. Because I mean, I'm one step removed from a woman, just like every woman's one step removed from a man.
Right.
I mean, we all have mothers and fathers.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I say that all the time, that like anytime a woman is so quick to bash and label men of her own ethnic group as something negative, then that reflects on her, because she has, you know, the genetic material of a man in her body, whether or not she wants to admit it or accept it or be reminded of it, she does. So it's like, if that's true, then that means that at least 50% of you is inherently evil, likewise, or inherently bad, likewise, or whatever term it is that she may use. So I completely agree. Mr. Research, you got things taken care of? Okay. Well, what I'll do,
let's just chalk it up for what it is. Am I struggling?
Keep on talking and let's see.
So let's just chalk it up for what it is. Most people are intimidated by suit and tie people. That's why they're quick to call us names, be acting white. Look, I'm from the block. I used to do dirt. Ain't nowhere near white. But what I realized is the more that I advance, the more I intimidated the community, because the community wants to result to name calling. The community finds it powerful to be like Stephen Fetchit and crack jokes. That's why so many people get moved past. So I also say this: I realized a long time ago that many of these ladies, their main goal, what happened when the non-Black lady told them about women's empowerment, but at the same time told them to march in the back of the line. See, in my view, when ladies come out here and they weaponize their mouths to say anti-Black things, what is the end goal? Well, what is the end goal? The end goal is to get Chicken George to dance to her tune, because the guy that's trying to be free and get his family off the plantation, he's hated. He's hated. And look, the women who appreciate that guy are hated. That's what our community is doing. We're doing 2022 plantation stuff. Why should you get upset if you're a guy and I have a suit on, or I'm making moves, but you're in a truck making more money than me? Why should you even be upset? And why should a lady be upset if I'm not her cup of tea? Because it's about control. The dudes who need those women are controlled easier. The dudes who got just as much money as her, got a lawyer just like her, got the ability to drive away just like her, she don't like those dudes, because those dudes won't easily bow down for sex. Those dudes have options. So that's how I look at it. And it's been like that. I've been saying this since 2006. Most of the Blacks who talk against other Blacks are like Ku Klux members. It's like, why should you, if pocket watching is supposed to be such a bad thing amongst the men, or shaming is supposed to be such a bad thing, why any move that I make, it should come out of your mouth and you should crack jokes? Okay, so now I crack jokes about you not having your stuff together, but then you say, now I'm punching down and I'm trying to act white. The community is starting to be real confusing, because it's all about jokes. It ain't about seriousness no more.
Okay. No, I mean, you make good points. It's like a self-destruct kind of scenario. Looks like I got one more here. The Roger Report. What's going on, the Roger Report?
Hello, how y'all doing?
Good. So what?
Well, the thing is, we got an issue that a lot of people just don't want to face, and that issue is honestly, most black women have not let go of white supremacy. Any normal person in America who watched television that's controlled by white supremacy, who went to public education, which is controlled by white supremacy, who went to movies, which is controlled by white supremacy, who read magazines, which was controlled by white supremacy. Everybody in America, just about any normal person, has been taught to be a white supremacist. A lot of black people don't let it go, and black men, unfortunately, are sometimes forced to kind of let it go, or they'll come to a conclusion to move in a different direction because it's so much harder on black men than it is on women. But there's really no incentive for women to let go of white supremacy, and this is just another manifestation of it. Why would somebody tell a black man to not do something as far as doing something that's positive, have a positive look, if they don't think black men are supposed to be positive people of the community? If they don't think black men should project a positive image, of course you're gonna come against it, because that doesn't fit the narrative that you actually go by. So it doesn't make a difference what color a person is. White supremacy is taught to just about every American. You either accept it or you reject it. And as an adult, for me, if once you had your 18th birthday, if you haven't rejected it, it's on you now. It's your fault. I don't want to hear about the media. I don't hear about what they taught you in school. You 18, you can make your own decisions at that point. It's your fault you're a white supremacist and nobody else, because we accept and reject whatever we want. It's been plenty of people who were raised Christian and they chose to be something else. There's been plenty of Muslims who was raised Muslim and chose to be something else. So and religions are usually what's dearest to people. If you can let a religion go, you can let white supremacy go too.
Okay, so you're saying that you think that reaction speaks to some of the brainwashing that women have gone through to assume basically that black men by default are not meant to be positive. They're just not. And you're like, where did that perspective come from? It came from white supremacist brainwashing, whether it's through school, through media, different literature, culture, whatever it may be. But they've kind of bitten the fruit. They've bought into the lie.
Well, I'm saying they have a love for it. I understand you can be taught anything as a child. It won't stick unless you love it.
Fair.
That's the reality. So it doesn't make a difference where they got it from. Anybody can give you an idea. If you love an idea, you'll gravitate toward the idea. So it's on them once you had your 18th birthday. A child being a white supremacist, I'm going to blame his parents. But an adult being a white supremacist, I got to blame that person. Doesn't make a difference where you got the ideal from. So yeah, we can blame the media. We can blame education. You can blame whoever you want. But once you're an adult, it's on you.
It's on you. Yeah, no, I hear you.
So this is a manifestation of what they love. What's in their heart is black men are not supposed to be leaders. They're not supposed to have a positive image, and they're going to come against anything that projects that. And this is clearly a manifestation of that.
Interesting. Didn't think of it that way. Interesting. What do you guys have on that topic? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Does it make sense?
I wholeheartedly agree. I believe in terms of white supremacy. In essence, there's a portion of Black America that has to, or any group that's otherized, that has to buy into it to keep that system sustained and going. So, I mean, just bars, mic drop.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you read the Willie Lynch book on how he breaking down Black slaves, I mean, if you're breaking down the Black man to just the point of misery and no return, that's the image that Black women have likely just carried over through slavery, period. That they have no sense of power. They have no sense of control. So if they don't have control over the family or anything, then that's the image that they're going to see. and the black man that they will empower to some degree will likely be the rapper, musician, or the athlete, because the money itself represents that power, not him, but the fact that he's able to attain that money. So I think I think he's definitely right on that point for sure.
Also, just a little slight difference. It ain't about what they see. It's about what they want.
True.
If you want something, you do everything you can to create the thing that you want. So you don't want black men empowered. So therefore, you create an image that he should never be empowered. Being a rapper is acceptable because anything in entertainment is white supremacy approved. Black people have always been cool to entertain white folks. I don't have an issue with anybody who's in the entertainment industry, but you do have to remember, regardless of your natural gifts that allows you to make a lot of money in entertainment, that's still a white supremacy approved industry. White folks have never wanted us to be in business or anything else that's not attached to the entertainment industry. And a lot of black women come against any man that's black who makes money in something that doesn't include entertainment.
So RP has a great point, and let's put some examples on it that many people can't deny. Ladies always claim that we gentlemen are trying to allegiance ourselves with white guys. Do we make such statements? No. Do we? Are we visibly fighting white guys for laws and power? Yeah. Are we speaking against some white guys who are in our circles about what they not doing? Yeah. Now let's look at some of the ladies. Some of the ladies are fighting against Pickmes who love black men. Not the white women who are their directors and CEOs and CFOs. They're not fighting against them. Let's look at something else. They're speaking against the black man. But the white woman down at the school where her child goes is winning every war. Shouldn't black women be down there helping the Pickmes fight the white women? No, she's not doing that. And the final example is, look at the white woman in general. She's saying, no, I'm down for pay.
Hey, looks like you're cutting out.
My and against men, but for me, we're pro. I'm sorry, I said we're. She's like pro male. Some of our ladies are the only ones talking anti-male. When is the white woman going to get up there and talk anti-male? She doesn't. So these are wars that are not happening against white women. They seem to be only happening within the people in our community.
Yeah, I mean, even the term pick me, if you paid attention to determine how that developed, pick me is just a coded word for nigga lover. That's all it is. Black women attack any black woman who says anything about loving a man. You see it clearly when it happens on social media. There's no denying it because, people use words or images to show that that's what they mean. But if a woman comes out and says she loves a black man or says anything in support of black men, you're going to have a large group of women who's going to attack her. And the thing is, the people on social media is just other people in the streets. It's normal people.
What's going on? Okay, sorry. Looks like there was a bit of a echo. Looks like there's a bit of an echo.
Yeah, I heard some music. I don't know where that was coming from. It wasn't mine.
No worries.
My bad.
Yeah, sometimes when if we talk and the microphones are all on, and the microphones are all on, then it'll echo. So just be mindful. But that's a really, really great point. I mean, that's kind of how I was introduced, I guess, or inducted to to Pickme-dom, if you will, or Mammy-dom. Was me, getting online and just kind of, being myself, talking about things. I obviously love black men. I obviously love black women. I mean, I love people, so I don't have this sense of anybody is just, inherently they wake up one day and they're just walking around devil. So by nature of me being a black woman, being married to a black man, having black fathers or whatever, naturally I'm going to talk about that. And that just made people really pissed off. And that's when I started to wonder, like, or figure out that there's some weird stuff going on. Like, this extra weird. So, and I like how you make that
Wait.
Huh?
Wait, don't say people. Let's keep it honest. Black people were upset.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The pick-me-dom, that came from Black women. The pick-me's, the mammies, the mules, those comments. Those are coming from Black women.
See, Black women are concerned about their image, which is why they just won't come out and say you a nigga lover, because they know they wouldn't look right for them to say nigga lover. But if you can see any Black woman being supportive toward a Black man for whatever the reason is, it does not make an actual difference. You're always gonna have these women who are gonna start showing up and calling her a pick me and other terms with derogatory meanings. It's gonna happen. So obviously it's got to mean nigga love at the end of the day, because if it's a white man doing the exact same thing, you don't see people coming at that dude calling the woman who praise him a pick me. I've never seen a Hispanic man some woman who loved an Hispanic man called a pick me. I've never seen somebody who loved a Middle Eastern man called a pick me. I only see pick me referred to when it comes to anybody who's supportive of a Black man. Now, this is the internet. I'm sure it's going to eventually spread. But if we pay attention, pick me is a term reserved for Black men. Well, the women who support Black men. So it means nigga lover.
No, absolutely. And that's, that's the thing. I've mentioned this multiple times, right? Because for all of the women out there who use their negative or traumatic experience with maybe, their who knows, a boyfriend, ex-husband, a dad, a brother, whatever it may be, use negative experiences of Black men in the past as a reason to write off the entire Black community. I always say, well, why don't you see white women doing that, or Asian women doing that, or Hispanic women doing that? Because best believe those women also have horrible experiences. I know plenty of women off the top of my head who are not Black, they've had physical abuse, some of them sexual abuse. There's been affairs, incest, poverty, homelessness, real difficult struggles from different men in their life. Not Black, white women, Hispanic women, you know what I mean? But it's like, I don't hear them going around saying, okay, now therefore, because my dad did this to me, or my father wasn't there for me, or my brother, or my husband, or ex-husband, because of that, now all white men are horrible, or all Hispanic men are trash. I've never seen that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wrong. But
it's a feminist wrote a book called Hood Feminism, all about that. It's about, hey, white woman, we were supposed to be down together. You're voting for Trump. She wrote it when Trump was getting elected. This makes no sense. This goes against everything you taught us, Black women. It's like, wait a minute. Are you listening to yourself? Okay, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I tell people all the time, I'm not mad at these anti-male speakers. I'm not. Because if Black men were to go away next week, if it was to be hands, mate, and tail here tomorrow, just like I saw in France back in 1993, when majority of the Black French women were speaking against the Black French men, you let these other cultures come in and play and pretend for about 5 years. On that 6th year and 7th year, they're going to revert just like Decepticons right back to who they are. The whole fetish is going to be over with, except now it's going to be worse. What happened in France was women would pick off the most productive Black men, and French men would pick off the most productive Black French women. And what was left? Scallywags. And then came in the Muslims, no disrespect to nobody. They were the new Blacks in France in 94, and they took all that the Black French had. Took everything, jobs, everything, because they were powerless at that point. The best of them were taken away. So I say all that to say this: I don't hate what anybody does, but This USA, we can't keep playing this game. The children of 2030 are going to look at the history books and say, what were the 1999 blacks doing with this invention called the internet? Fighting each other?
They will know for sure.
It's sometimes I I look at what's going on and I'm like, this feels like a failed project. Like I don't know how else to put it. I'm like, sometimes I feel like the Black community is acting like a failed project. Not to say that there aren't, people out there or things out there or a chance for things to change, but not if this destructive, damaging behavior continues. Not if it continues. It's like, well, at that point, you're asking for genocide. You yourself, and you can't even blame white people for doing it. It's you being, celebrating the wrong thing. You shaming men who were trying to actually build. You to be responsible for that, women. So.
Well, the thing is, women gonna do what they want to do at the end of the day. That's why, I'll never have an issue with a woman who doesn't want the guy in the suit because, the guys were just men in suits at the end of the day. These are any other men, they're just men in suits. Because they're black, now they're niggas in suits, and niggas ain't supposed to have suits on. And that's really what came out. You know what I'm saying? Black women were basically saying niggas ain't supposed to have suits on. This made my pussy dry up. Okay, well, why would just a picture of random men in a suit make your pussy dry up? Unless you truly believe a nigga should never be in a suit, because that's how she saw those men. There's nothing those men could do to look good in her eyes, and none of them should care what she think. And so when I said earlier about black men should never focus on what black women think from a collective standpoint. There'll be a few exceptions to the rule. But generally, black men shouldn't care what black women think. If you listen to the majority of black women, you're going to end up in a compromised position. They love dysfunction. And as a man, you have a choice to make with a lot of black women. You either must choose to be dysfunctional so you can have a good relationship with them, or you must choose to be a functional American and live the way you best see fit. But you're going to have to make that choice on at least 80% of it.
And let me say something positive. I love sisters. Really, I do. But for the past couple of years, I'm loving at a distance. I don't want the combativeness. I don't want the snarky, snappy responses. I don't want you start to come around me at the shopping thing. I quickly move away. I don't want no drama. I don't want no drama. But then there's that beautiful Pickme with the smile on her face, and she's just walking around happy. I say hi to her sister. She said, hi, brother. And we just keep walking. See, those I like. The male identified Mimi, I like her. But them disgruntled, I'm looking for somebody to argue with. I'm looking for somebody to fight. And if I can't find a black man, I'm going to argue with the exotical. I'm going to argue with the, you know what? Y'all have it. Y'all go right ahead. I'm gonna walk away.
Nah, I'll say this though, in terms of the dynamics with men and women. Actually, it's kind of like the post you had in your community thing today. What was it? The boss bee convention or whatnot. I want more of that, because I want these people to segregate themselves out and sift themselves out so that young men like myself and my colleague don't got to worry about encountering and entertaining some of these folks, so that it becomes a less of a waste of time, and the good men and women can have an easier time finding themselves or finding each other, rather.
Right.
And I would like to say one final thing, and I'm gonna head on out, and that's simply that women do need to pay attention to what's going on. The fact that you got more than half of black men who do not have children. Now, I know over history, you could explain that because people died earlier. You can explain that because there were these big wars and people went and they signed up in the military and they died and never had a family. You could explain that due to the lack of medical advances that we have now. But to be in 2022 and black men have decided from collectively that most black men have decided black women are unworthy of having my child, that should be a wake-up call to women. There's really no explanation for it at this point. We got the right medical advancements. We haven't had a big war that took a lot of brothers out. The last major war we had was Vietnam. It's really no excuse at this point. Like, there's really no excuse for the fact that men aren't finding women they want to have children with. It's kind of ridiculous that the average man, whether he said it or he didn't say it, he's shown through his actions that he's not interested in having a baby with a black woman. And this dysfunctional display they show with the men in the suit is just a showing of why the average guy doesn't actually want to have a baby with a black woman. Now, I'm not saying we don't want to have babies with black women in general, because sure, most of us, we want to technically have a baby with a black woman. We just can't find one worthy of taking a chance on. And that's a shame.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Because I think, just in general, black manosphere, manosphere period. That's kind of the whole sense of just, call it feminism. Now, we obviously know feminism has white supremacist foundation. So for the black community, it's like a double whammy. But just this culture in general makes it really, really, really difficult post-feminism for men and women to get along. I don't know how else to put it. And we see this complicated, or even exponentially more so within the black community, because of all the other inherent issues that we've had to deal with just due to the past, So
let me pose this difficult question to you, Sade. And I'm telling you in advance, it's difficult. This goes to what Roger Report says. I'm reading something that Richie put in the chat room. He said, I thought that pick me means that you were being chosen. What I encourage everybody to do, when the black community starts throwing around a phrase, look at where it originally came from. Pick me started in the swirler camp, on the swirler videos, just like Get the Bag started in some of the LGBT spaces. Okay, so when you hear some of these black phrases, I want you to research where it came from. Don't take for granted when somebody tells you, or even me, that it came from somewhere. Go research it. But here's my question, Sade. If pick me was simply about waiting to be chosen, why is it when we see Asian people like Jenny Ma try to date black men, nobody tells her she's a pick me? Why is it that when we see Asian men trying to be with black women, nobody calls that person a pick me? It appears, to Roger's point, nobody outside of the black community gets called the disparaging names or phrases except black people. And this goes to Roger's point. So why is that, Sade, in your thought? Why do we never hear not one non-black person publicly called to pick me?
So I think that goes back, and that's a great question. And then I'll say after I'm going to have to wrap it up after this, just to forewarn you guys. But that's a great question, and I think this may go back to the point that he made earlier about the fact that at the end of the day, because let's just call a spade a spade. There is a direct pipeline between divesting and white supremacy. The thoughts, the talking points are identical. They're pretty much identical. It's just white supremacy and blackface. So if you go into the conversation understanding that, and I say divestors because many of the ones who are espousing the most hatred are associated with that movement, right? Or are openly divested, quote unquote. Yeah, but if you look at what they say, like I said, it's completely identical. But because these are black women, you calling yourself, as you mentioned, you as a black woman calling another person the N lover, that'd be kind of weird. So you kind of have to come up with other more inventive or innovative, I guess, secret ways of saying it. But it's still the same meaning. It's still the same sentiment. It's still just as detrimental. So if the truth is that pick me has everything to do with race and only is associated with Black people, then that's why you would never use that term for somebody outside of it. So yeah, that would be my answer. Hope that makes sense.
Exactly. Thank you for having me on. I'm gonna go ahead and leave, but thank you for being fair. Like I tell dudes all the time, don't attack all Black women, because some Black women are great and outstanding and they deserve our protection. We got to be really calculated with this manosphere stuff. You just can't be blurting stuff out, making new enemies with women who are really on your side. So shout out to you. Peace out.
No, I appreciate you calling in. Much appreciated. Always a good conversation.
And Mohit as well. Thank you so much for having me on the show. As always, keep being great.
Thanks.
Take care.
Call in. It's always a good combo. Okay, it looks like I did see. Let's see. Looks like I saw a few. Wait, where'd you go? Okay. I'll shout out to Mr. Research TV again for the 5. It says donation for graphics. I appreciate it. Also, shout out to the Roger Report Live. Again, it says Edward Anderson put me up the pick me term meaning N-word lover. I looked into it and he was right. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, somebody sent me a video. Somebody sent me, gosh, I don't remember where it was. I'd have to see if I can find it, but it was a sitcom. It was like a sitcom. I don't think it was Grey's Anatomy. It was some sitcom, and in it, there was this like romance scene, if you will, where there was a woman who was like wanting to be in a relationship with a man. She was wanting to be in a relationship with a doctor. And so she kind of goes into this whole monologue and she's like, pick me, choose me. So I remember somebody sending that to me months ago and being like, hey, this is where the term came from. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if they kind of are all like work together, because I know obviously you have people of all, ethnicities watching these sitcoms. It was a pretty popular one. But yeah, it'll be interesting to really get deep dive into like where did that specific term start. But I do think what you said about a lot of these terms being, a code word for more brazen, just downright racist ideologies makes total sense. So yeah, guys. So this has been good. As I mentioned before, I always like to hear you guys' perspective and your thoughts on this. Even as Mr. Research says, I, in my heart, hope and believe that there are obviously still women out there who are not in agreement with all the foolishness that we see going on. Many of them will follow me, contribute. It was good to have Mrs. Taylor come on and share her perspective. So, of course, this is not everyone. And my hope is that those who are in agreement and who do see that some of the stuff that's being openly portrayed or openly done without pushback is negative, I hope that there can be more who are willing to stand up and say, hey, no, we need to stop this. This is destructive. This is bad or whatever. But at the end of the day, there are so many different points. There are so many different things here. And I will say this, that as women, if we continue to celebrate toxic behavior and continue to, or let it go, normalize it, then we're really going to be hurting ourselves. Because one of the things that they said that I think were just so crucial was that at the end of the day, men, they're not going to sit here and try to argue with you. They're not going to sit here and try to convince you how to be a lovely person, how to be a good partner or wife, how to be reasonable. Most men aren't going to sit there and do that. If you are full of drama, if you feel like you're full of bitterness, if you're putting off hatred, if you're pulling off just negative vibes, they're going to silently walk away. They're not going to go waste their energy, waste their time. That's not their job, honestly, too. It's not men's job to teach women how to be women. It's not their job to teach us to put them in check. Yeah, I've heard some women say that, like, oh, I want a man to put me in check, like almost as if they want to act a fool, and they want to act a fool, and they want to see how far they can go before he's going to step back, before he's going to clap back, or before he's going to put her in check. And it's like, why would you do that? Why would you actively be disrespectful or actively act out of place and see how far you can go with your man? So that kind of mentality, most men, they don't want to put up with it. I don't want to, you know, or a good portion of them, functional, healthy men, they don't want to put up with it, and they won't. They won't argue with you. They're not going to get in your face and go back and forth. They're not going to roll their neck. They're not going to, no, many of them will just be quiet and silently walk away. And again, this is the thing that's happening. We see this kind of toxic behavior being openly unchecked. We see women going on saying silly things and then other women supporting it or agreeing with it and acting like we're building like this fake, weird sisterhood camaraderie, this toxic camaraderie. And then we wonder why there is such dissension between, or there is such an inability to have healthy relationships. This is partially why. Shaming men, shaming Black men who wanted nothing else than to come together and network and create a space where they could try to build, you know, a network, talk about potential different job opportunities, maybe meet with different business partners, do all the things women complain about. Shaming men who are actually actively doing that is working against your own self in the long run, especially if you say that you want a relationship. And again, I think women, if you're listening to me, you like really need to be honest with who you're listening to and what you're engaging with and what you're allowing to come in. I saw a tweet earlier today that it was literally a Black woman, and she said, honestly, I didn't really have a lot of negative experiences with Black men. I just got online and then, you know, I saw this information and they like radicalized me basically admitting there was nothing in her life that would give her reason to have such a negative perception of men other than what she saw. So like, you have a good portion, especially of those younger women, who are being radicalized by older, bitter women who have undealt with trauma and pain. And so again, if you find yourself in that mist, in that crowd, beware. You are fighting against your own self. You are harming yourself. Any potential for happiness, any potential for any healthy relationship, you're messing around and playing with evil spirits. So that's what I got, y'all. This was a fun one. I see, shout out to BM Creighton. It says, thanks for the content to expose the issues and help promote solutions for healing. Absolutely, absolutely. You know, I think in order to have for there to be any hope of healing or even the conversation, the first has to be acknowledgement of there being a problem. Like we haven't even really gone deep down the rabbit hole. Like, what are the different ways to change and heal mentally, spiritually, emotionally, whatever? It's like we haven't even gone deep down that rabbit hole a lot of the time, because it's just like trying to get people to be like, crap, I have an issue. Step one, like admit you have a problem. Like if you can't even get there, then forget about all this healing stuff. Forget about all the season for healing. You know, this is the season of women. I've heard some people say that. Forget about all that BS. You can't even acknowledge that you're in error. Ain't nothing going to happen if you can't even do that. So, anyways, that's what I got. This has been fun. Stay tuned, guys, for other upcoming content, information. Share this if you thought it was interesting. Yeah, guys, thank you for your support. Again, if you want to continue to show support to the show, you can find me on Cash App and Venmo. Yeah, we will be in touch. And yeah, I have other stuff coming up later, so stay tuned, guys.